In this lesson, we will continue to explore the child's psychosocial development as a domain of holistic development from the point of view of another theorist, Lawrence Kohlberg. Do you have a child in your class who's always telling on others, who break the rules? Young children tend to see right and wrong in very absolute ways. They're often quite rule-bound. Kohlberg, born 1927, a psychologist who studied how people reason or think about rules, did this in an interesting way. He presented moral dilemmas, or stories that require a person to consider their values of right and wrong, and watched how people responded to these. Let's analyze this moral dilemma. A woman was near death from cancer. One drug might save her, a form of radium that a pharmacist in the same town had recently discovered. The pharmacist was charging 10 times for the drug than what it cost him to make. The sick woman's husband went to everyone he knew to borrow the money, but he could only get together half of what he needed to buy the drug. He told the pharmacist that his wife was dying and asked him to give him a discount or to let him pay later. The pharmacist said no. The husband got desperate and is considering breaking into the pharmacy to steal the drug for his wife. Now, think about the following questions. Should the husband steal the drug? Why or why not? Is it actually right or wrong for him to steal the drug? Why is it right or wrong? Does the husband have a duty or obligation to steal the drug? Why or why not? If the husband does not love his wife, should he steal the drug for her? Does it make a difference in what the husband should do whether or not he loves his wife? Why or why not again? Suppose the person dying is not his wife but a stranger. Should the husband steal the drug for the stranger? Why or why not? Is it important for people to do everything they can to save another's life? Again, why or why not? It is against the law for the husband to steal. Does that make it morally wrong? Why or why not? In general, should people try to do everything they can to obey the law? Why or why not? How does this apply to what the husband should do? How does this apply to what the husband should do? In thinking back over the dilemma, what would you say is the most responsible thing for the husband to do? Why? There is no one correct answer for this activity. For 30 years, Kohlberg studied people's responses to this dilemma. He was interested in the way they argued or reasoned, not in the actual answers they gave. He interviewed respondents to find out more about their moral reasoning. For example, he asked children if the husband had a right to steal the drug, if he was violating the pharmacist's rights, and what sentence the judge should give him once he was caught. Kohlberg concluded that children pass through 3 levels of moral reasoning, each with a couple of stages within them. Like other stage theories of development, each stage is more complex than the one before it. Kohlberg emphasized that the ages associated with each stage vary, and one child might respond at one level in one situation, and at another level in another situation. Kohlberg's stages of moral development are the pre-conventional level, where others set rules, then the conventional level, where one thinks as a member of society that has rules, values, and expectations, and finally, the post-conventional level, where one is less concerned with maintaining society for its own sake and more concerned with the principles and values that make for a good society. The pre-conventional level, in which others set rules, is made up of 2 stages. Stage 1 is punish and obedience orientation. This means that doing the right thing is about obeying authority and avoiding punishment. Therefore, in the dilemma mentioned earlier, the child would say the husband was wrong to steal because it is against the law, or it is bad to steal, and would say stealing is bad because of the punishment you might get. Stage 2 under the pre-conventional level is individualism and exchange orientation. This means that children can see different sides of the same issue and argue for doing what is best for you. In the dilemma mentioned, the child might say that the husband thinks it is okay to steal, but the pharmacist thinks it is not. They might say that it is okay for the husband to steal because the pharmacist was trying to rip him off. Stage 3, good interpersonal relations, falls under the conventional level. Here, being a good person is about helping those who are close to you. In the dilemma, the child would say that the husband loved his wife and was trying to save her, whereas the pharmacist was greedy and selfish. Under the conventional level, we have stage 4, which is the law and order orientation, where being good is about obeying the laws in order to maintain society as a whole. In the dilemma, a person at this stage of moral development might say they understand the husband's actions, but would ask, what would happen if everyone in society stole when they could not afford something? Stage 5, social contract orientation, falls under the post-conventional level, where one emphasizes rights and democratic processes. In the dilemma, a person might argue that the wife had a right to live, because this value is necessary for a good society. Stage 6 is universal ethical principle orientation. Ethical principles are self-chosen and based on abstract principles. Laws should be disobeyed if they break these principles. Kohlberg later dropped this stage from his theory because it was difficult to distinguish from stage 5. To help you to understand Kohlberg's theory better, here are some examples from classrooms. In the pre-conventional level, 2 children are arguing and the teacher asks for an explanation. One child says, "She called me names," and the other says, "Well, he took my pen." Another example would be a child offers to go to the back of the line for school lunch if he can be the first to go out for break. A conventional level example would be a child stays after school to sweep the classroom for the teacher. Another example, a teacher says, "Please help me to tidy up the mess from our art activity so that we can read a story." A final example, the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa in 1996 says it is compulsory for all school-aged children to attend school. A post-conventional example would be, at the beginning of the year, a class discusses what kind of classroom behavior is right or wrong, what kind of behavior it wants to have, and what should happen to people who break these rules. Kohlberg said that children could move from one stage to another when they discuss moral dilemmas with people who are at a more advanced level than they are. Kohlberg's ideas have been criticized for a number of reasons, including the following. The stages do not work consistently, and a child could be in more than one stage at the same time. When children are asked to reason about helping someone else or meeting their own needs, they often reason at higher levels than when they are thinking about breaking laws. In life, making moral choices is not just about reasoning. Emotions, relationships, and all sorts of practical considerations come into it. People might reason at a higher level, but make choices at a lower level. Kohlberg based his research on American men, so it is culturally and gender biased, though when the story is made culturally appropriate, the same results are found.